You're watching India Today Global. The big news at this hour: WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange walks a free man. He left an island controlled by the United States of America, where he pleaded guilty to one count of felony and for publishing U.S. military secrets. And in a plea deal with the U.S. Department of Justice, was allowed then to be let free, which ended a long-fought legal battle of Julian Assange. He now landed in Australia, in Canberra, greeted by his family, a lot of followers. But to get more details on what really has happened on the ground, I'm being joined by Karthik Mohandas from the Indian Telegraph, Australia. Karthik, thank you so much for joining us here on India Today Global. Let's begin with his welcome. How was the welcome? We saw a lot of hugs, a lot of smiles. So how was he welcomed in Australia?
I think there was a lot of jubilation, and people are very happy to see Australia to see one of its sons return back home. I think there have been mixed judgment on what the moral position has been as far as the actions of Mr. Julian Assange. But largely, I think the Australian public feels very happy that he's back, and this was a very long and hard fought battle. In some senses now, what happens is inconsequential, except it's a big win for Mr. Assange, his family, a large proportion of the Australian citizens, the population, and also the government.
Well, he refused to go to the United States of America, and that's why from the UK he was taken to Saipan on the Northern Mariana Islands of the US-controlled territory, where the judgment was passed. And it's just a week before his birthday, Karthik. So July 3rd, he turns 53. It's going to be quite significant. Even the judge who passed the judgment wished him before he left the United States of America. So there is a lot of support, a lot of criticism to the kind of treatment meted out to Julian, which is why, in a way, the US started the negotiation, I suppose, with the Assange team.
Uh, I think Mr. Julian Assange better knows the reasons why he doesn't want to step onto mainland USA. I think him having leaked enough documents knows the danger that poses him if he were to enter the mainland. Having said that, I think the Julian Assange case was always a thorn in the bilateral relationship between the two countries. Prime Minister Albanese has been championing the case to free Mr. Assange under some sort of a plea bargain or some sort of deal between the two countries. And given the current geopolitical situation, the rise of China, Australia's importance in the Asia and Indo-Pacific region, both in terms of providing bases to the US and also being their deputy in this part of the world, if you might want to say that, it became important to get rid of this one bugbear that was afflicting the bilateral relationship. So it's been a win both for the Biden administration and the Albanese government out here in Australia.
That's a very important point you make. You talk about the rise of Australia. You're talking about how important it is that United States of America and Australia get rid of this one irritant in ties. And Julian Assange did figure in conversations between the two countries. What very important, Karthik, over here is that Assange now will be required to destroy information provided to WikiLeaks, and should he not do that, what happens then? It just seems like, Karthik, right now there is freedom for Julian Assange, but should he violate any terms and conditions, this freedom could be temporary.
Uh, for sure. I think the terms of his release and the terms of no further action being taken must be codified very strictly in the plea bargain that's been signed by the two sides. Uh, but having said that, I think anything to do with the freedom of the press, the right to truth, the freedom to express and publish anything that you might want to, remains a very important part of the Western ethos of society. So from that perspective, I think Julian Assange has definitely sparked off an interesting quest for truth amongst a wider population as well. And I think the movement will continue in some way or the other. So I think he might not be spearheading it, or we might not see him take this to the logical conclusion that he might have wanted to. But having said that, I definitely think we'll see there is a clear pathway that's been charted out where, whistleblowers are actually happy that he's been freed, but they're also not happy that not enough has been done. They would have really appreciated that there wasn't even a single charge of guilt that was mounted on him.
Well,
But nonetheless, he is free.
right, and before I let you go, Karthik, very important points that you make. The fact that this is a win for whistleblowers, but it also comes at a cost. And the cost is him destroying the material that he required. It really brings the question back home on freedom of press, right to information, like you rightly pointed out. And while whistleblowers are celebrating, in a way, they must be disappointed that this could mean a very grim future for all those who are fighting and are on a journey for this quest for information and do not want to lose that right.
You're absolutely right, and I don't think this case can definitely be looked at as a watershed moment, but definitely not as the defining moment in this larger quest for right to information, freedom to express oneself, freedom of the press, etc. I think this is a battle that has to be continuously fought and will be fought by people who feel that their own individual liberty and every citizen's liberty is very important. And no government or no institution should be beyond reproach when it comes to addressing certain truths in society. Uh, I mean, that's what most people feel also. So I think these are moments in time in a larger narrative that will and shall and have to continue.
I'm only wondering what happens to WikiLeaks now. Or do they shut? Because anything that they do now, especially to do with the United States of America, could fall in the realm of a violation. So what really happens over here? What's the future for Julian Assange?
I think currently he's landed here today and he can look forward to a nice warm meal, a typical Australian meal, a nice schooner of beer, and just spending some time with friends and family without having to look at his watch or peer over his shoulder or look outside the window. So I think for him, celebrations are in order definitely. As far as WikiLeaks is concerned, I think the movement will live on, whether it's called WikiLeaks or it's rechristened or bundled and information and resources being given to another organization. As you know, it's a large global network now, and there are many people across the globe who have woken up to this new truth that they need to fight for it, their own state and their own liberty. So I'm fairly certain that given the decentralized nature of the digital era that we live in, including the dark web, I think the truth can be suppressed, swept under the carpet, but not be hidden for long.
Okay, on that positive note of some reprieve and relief for Julian Assange, Karthik Mohandas, thank you so much for joining us here on India Today Global. That's the news that's just coming in of Julian Assange having landed in Australia. He's in Canberra now, reunited with his family and children. A moment of joy and celebration for him. What happens to WikiLeaks, to his future and how he's going to conduct himself is something we'll have to wait and see. But for now, Australia has said that they welcome this decision and that the case had dragged on for far too long. Also, WikiLeaks has called the plea deal unnecessary. So that's a message that one has to really look into and maybe weigh on a little later. For now, we'll keep tracking developments on Julian Assange and what happens from here on. For now, we'll just say goodbye from the India Today Global studio.